Good morning, Internet. This is the Old Fat Dad, and welcome back to another beautiful day on the Goober Nation gun range. A couple of weeks ago, I brought to you guys a scenario. My daughters were in danger of being eaten by a zombie horde. I had to take one shot and take out one zombie with a headshot to save them. There were many zombies around still. The horde had not passed by, and the one lone wanderer was approaching my daughter's location. So I had to make sure that the shot was the quietest possible shot I could take. I had to use all of the resources at my disposal to make sure I took out the zombie without alerting his buddies. Well, long story short, both my daughters died because the round I chose bounced right off our simulated zombie skull. That's right, my 22 long rifle could not penetrate a zombie skull. And I want to make 2 points before we move on to our new test, our new round that we're going to try against the zombie skulls. First, please remember, the goal here is to keep it as quiet as possible. A lot of you guys were offering up suggestions in the comments about how I should use high velocity ammo. Yes, it would work better than what I chose, but it would also be way, 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 way louder. Remember, our goal here is to keep it quiet, keep it shh. Second point, in the comments, I was also getting a lot of replies that said, if you had hit the skull more squarely, maybe the bullet wouldn't have bounced off. Now, I get your point, and you may be right, but I also don't want to choose a round that has to have the most optimal hit to work, right? I mean, we're all going to make mistakes. Nobody's perfect. High stress situation. We want to be able to make a shot that might be marginal and still be effective. So I really think that any round, and this happened twice, that bounces off a coconut at 50 yards, I don't care if it was skimming off the side or not quite centered. If it's not going to go through, then it's not going to work for me. So today we're going to update. We're going to make a similar scenario, but we're going to add a couple of rules. Even on a marginal shot at 50 yards, this bullet has to perform. So they were pretty square shots. They were just slightly off with the other one. In that situation, it has to penetrate. And again, we are keeping this as quiet as possible, right? We're not looking for hypervelocity, even just regular standard velocity that breaks the sound barrier. If we get that supersonic crack, it's not a good round. So let me introduce you to our contender today for top coconut killer. It is going to be the CCI Subsonic Segmented. And here is a close look at that round. It does have a hollow point. It is copper jacketed, but it will be a little bit faster, actually a good bit faster, 200 or 300 feet per second faster than the quiet round we used last time, which means it might be marginally louder, but it's going to be hopefully way more effective. While I'm setting up for the shot, I think it'd be good to talk about the rifle I chose and why I chose the particular ammunition we are using today. So to start with the rifle, this is the Cricket Overlander, or the Keystone Arms Overlander. And this is a rifle I've reviewed just recently as well. And it's a super lightweight package, very simple in its design. Single shot, it doesn't take a magazine or anything, it's just one shot at a time. You got to cock it here to be able to fire. Kitted out, suppressor, scope, all the gadgets and gadgets. Under 5 pounds is pretty darn good. And in the apocalypse, if we are imagining this scenario, I think that simplicity is going to be important. So you don't want a super complicated firearm, because you got to take care of it, and all the little bits and parts that make those super complicated firearms work are going to wear out, break, and cause you to have just a lump of metal after a time. And the lightweight aspect is really important. As I've gotten older, as I've kind of hiked around and messed around in the woods with the different firearms, I've really come to appreciate a nice lightweight package if I'm going to be covering a bunch of ground. So that's why I think this would be the perfect package. I switched from my 1022 to this because it's a good bit lighter. And then the ammo. So Subsonic Segmented is hollow point ammo, and it has that segmenting quality to it as well, which means when you get a hit, not only will the bullet expand, but it will actually break apart into multiple segments. If you are trying to do the most damage with a bullet that's not going to be moving very quickly, so it usually wouldn't expand very much if it was a hollow point, I think segmenting is the way to go. And if I wanted to hit the brain of a zombie and really up my chances that I was going to scramble everything that's inside of that little noggin of his, I think a segmenting round is the right choice. That's why I went with the quiet segmenting before. It obviously could not do the trick, so I'm hoping this subsonic ammunition has enough oomph to punch through that thick skull and then get into the goodies and cause some damage inside. All right, moment of truth. My daughters are all dead, so really this is purely revenge on that stinking bulletproof coconut. It's up in the corner of the screen out there at 50 yards. We're gonna load one of our CCI segmented subsonic rounds into the old Keystone Arms here. And let's see if we can take out our nemesis here at 50 yards, the quietest shot possible. Hope I can do it this time. This is for you, kiddos. Here we go. Whoa! I'm feeling pretty good about this. I see some juice coming out of that coconut. We're gonna check out the slow-mo, and I'll show you how we did on the old coconut. My soul is finally at peace. I have avenged my daughters. We got a beauty of a hit. Here's our entrance on that coconut, and that is just a 22 caliber entrance on the front. And on the back, we blew out a good bit of shell. That exit looks a lot more ragged, not as nice and circular as the front. So I'm curious what kind of damage we did on the inside. Let's crack this thing open and see if we got any segmenting. All right, please don't laugh if I accidentally chop off my fingers here. I'm going to try and crack this coconut. There she goes. Right along that seam here. So ease this thing open. Take a look inside. All right, interesting. Still a bunch of juice in here. That's where the, I can see some lead in there. We're going to pull that apart first. Let's take a look at the other side, though. Can I do this without spilling you? All right, we can take a look at the meat of the coconut. You know, this is the top here, and it is largely undisturbed as far as I can see, besides the obvious hole here. And then here is the exit with a good bit more damage there on the back side. Let's see if I can sift out the juices on the other side and find some segments if there's any in there. All right, here's the other side, and I went through all the juices in there, and I did not find any significant pieces of lead. There are some very, very tiny pieces. Let's see if I can focus even on that tiny little piece on my finger. Anyways, there's a tiny little piece of lead there that managed to come off our round here. But you know what I do notice is just a ton of that meat got torn up when it went through. We did a really good bit of damage. There's shell inside there. So while I didn't see any segmenting here, I do see a lot of good damage, and I'm pretty sure this would have been a pretty darn effective coconut zombie skull punching round. So we'll call this a mixed success here for our coconut-headed zombie killing round. We did penetrate all the way through. We did do a significant bit of damage to our coconut skull. We didn't get any segmenting. That's kind of a bummer. But I feel in my heart I've avenged my poor lost daughters. And I can go back to living my scavenger lifestyle in the apocalypse. As always, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time.